Hello tent people, welcome to Warrior Camping. Today I've got another vintage tent for Jess to put up to see if she wants to take it to Devon. Now this is a lovely tent, nice old vintage tent made by Wild Country, which is really Terra Nova. So we'll have a look at this tent. I've had this tent quite a long time. I've probably had this tent about 20 years and it wasn't new when I got it. So I'm not exactly sure how old this tent is, but it is an old one. It's really nice with all the aluminium poles and all that. And you'll see when we put this one up, it's a bit different to the normal Scirocco. This one has got a big porch on the front of it. I've never seen this one anywhere else. I've seen the other Scirocco, that turns up quite a bit because I go a lot of places where people have the vintage tents. I go camping and that. Places where everyone has vintage tents. That's what it's all about. It's good, one of them vintage camping does. Good place to go camping. But like, I've never seen this one. I've seen the other one there, the smaller version. That turns up quite a lot. People have that one. But I have never seen anyone else with this version of the tent. I have seen the odd one come up on eBay, but even on eBay, this tent does not come up much. It really doesn't. Quite a lot of the other Scirocco's are out there and they come up, but this one with a porch, you very, very rarely see this. So I think this one is quite rare. Obviously, there is some out there because it's a wild country tent. So when this was new, they probably sold a lot of them. But it's just one that I've never seen. You might have one at home. If you have, I hope you love it as much as I love my one, because it looks fantastic, this tent. It really does. And it's in a lovely colour. It's like a turquoisey blue or a jade green, whatever you want to call it. It's got a really good look to it, this tent. It really has. And it's a nice tent because it's big and spacious, this one. The porch on it is really good for cooking and all that. So when I first got this tent, yeah, it did go out in all weathers. I've used this tent a lot. It did go out in storms, it did go out in windy conditions, it did go out in winter time, because this is what this tent's built for, really. So I did use it like that. I wouldn't do it now, it's too old for that now. It's been retired to like nice summertime camping now, this tent, because I wouldn't put it through a storm no more. It's too old for that, but it is still going strong. But when I did used to go out in it in bad weather and all that, like years ago, it did take it well. It's a strong tent, this one. It can handle a storm, it can handle the winds. So it's a good tent. It's like, it is built for that sort of situation. It's not a summer only tent. This tent is geared up for bad weather. But I just wouldn't do it to it now. This is one of my old favourite tents. I wouldn't take it out in a storm or in winds. This one would get looked after, 'cause it's nice, this old tent. But it's a shame for it to get ruined now. So what I normally do, if I take something out really nice and go somewhere where it's all vintage camping and all that, if like it's nice weather, yeah, I'll take this tent, be lovely. But I will take a backup tent with me. I'll throw something in the boot of the car like the Banshee or something like that. And then if the weather turns nasty and I'm still away, something like this, I can pack it down and put it in the boot of the car so it doesn't get damaged. And then pitch something little just so I can still stay wherever I am without worrying about the tent. 'Cause something like Banshee, you can throw it up in 5 minutes and it'll deal with all the weather, no problem. And this one would deal with it, but it's just like, I get attached to my old tents. I don't want to just ruin them. I don't want the wind to cane it. 'Cause if you get a serious storm, it is quite easy for your tent to get caned. And then it's ruined. It's hard to repair a tent. Alright, you can do the odd little holes in them and all that. But if they get a massive rip round the side where the poles come through it and all that, that really is hard to repair and the tent's sort of ruined. So if you do use these old tents, have a little lightweight backup tent. Just throw it in your car as well. Because I would only go car camping really with this. I've got a motorbike. I would chuck this on my bike and go away for a few days with it, no problem. Then I would just take this one. If the weather was nice, yeah, I'd just take this. But normally more car camping. I'm not lugging this thing up the woods or anything like that, doing all that of it. It's too nice for that, too old now. So as you can see, it's all nice aluminium poles and that on this one. And it's like the poles on this one, two of them are the same length, which do the cross at the back, but the other two are different lengths. So imagine there's three different length poles to this one. And there is no coloured sleeves or no coloured poles. There is no markings on where anything goes. So it's only because I've done it a lot, I know. The two long ones do like the frame, do the cross. And then the next longest one goes next to them. And then the shorter one goes at the front. Because you can get these poles muddled up and trying to put it in the wrong way. But like, I've had this 10 years, so I know how it goes. So the front is the shortest pole, then the next length pole is the middle pole, then the long ones are the two cross poles. So it's quite simple once you know that. But if you have one of these for the first time, it could be a bit confusing about how it all goes together. So like I said, I've had this tent a long time. I'm attached to this tent. That's why I would never do nothing to this tent to damage it. I love this old tent and I've had it a long time. I've had some fun with this. Even from the first moment I got this tent, it's got a bit of a story to it. And it's them stories that make your tent great. And this one's got a story because it was my friend's birthday. It was my friend's birthday years ago. Probably about 20 years ago. So it was my mate's birthday. And for his birthday, he said, like, it's my birthday. Will you all come away with me camping? So we're like, yeah, we go camping. So he's like, right, I'll find somewhere to go where I want to go. And we'll all go camping for my birthday. So we ended up all booking and we went to a campsite in Spain. It was in like a little place in Spain. It wasn't one of the big resorts. It was a place called Estarte. It was like a little kind of towny village. It wasn't that big, but it had a massive campsite there. So we went there for the week camping. And yeah, we had a really good time. So anyway, we're on the campsite doing the old camping. And next door to me was a bloke turned up. Day after we was out. Bloke turned up, pitched this tent. A French bloke. And he was there with his missus, and a tent was next to me. So when he pitched it up, I had a look at his tent and started speaking to him. He didn't speak much English, I didn't speak no French, but was just talking about the tent and that because I really liked it. And then I'm doing like cooking and that for everyone. We had a barbecue there and all the bits. And because this bloke was there, I was like, do you want a burger, mate? Do you want a chop? Do you want a sausage sandwich? When I'm doing food, I'm like giving food to him and his missus and all that. And then the geezer did buy us some beers, and he was having beers with us. So over the course of the week, we spent quite a lot of time with this French geezer, because we had like football and that, and it was a big old campsite. So me and my mates were like playing football and stuff like that. And the French geezer, he's like joining in with us, playing football and stuff. So we spent a lot of time with him. Him and his missus come out with us about 2 or 3 nights, like drinking in the town and that. He come out with us. So yeah, they was quite a nice couple. He was nice and his missus was nice. So we spent a bit of time with them. And I kept joking with him, saying, how much for your tent? I want that tent. Come on, sell it to me. But I was offering him like peanuts for it, really like low money. I'm sort of putting like a coin in his hand that was worth nothing and going to him, that's for the tent, I'll buy the tent. And he's like laughing about it and that. And he's going, you like my tent? I said, yeah, that's a really nice tent. He knew I liked his tent. And then on the last day, he's packing the tent up. I think he went home like the day before us or something like that. So he's packing his tent up. So we're sitting by our tent and he's next to us, packing his tent up, getting all the poles out and all that. But then he got one of the poles out, and somehow, I don't know how he's done it, he's like got his foot caught on the inner of the tent or something like that, and he's got one of the poles in his hand, he's just pulled it out, and he's gone flying, landed flat on his face with this pole, and I think the pole somehow went between his legs. I don't know what happened, but he snapped the pole. So it was sort of like we were all watching him. It was hard not to laugh. He went flying and snapped the pole. So I've gone over to see if he was all right, make sure he hadn't hurt himself. And he got up and he just went into one in French. Funny, like, I know a few of the old French swear words because he taught them to us that week, and they was all coming out. He was absolutely fuming, so he went right into one about this pole and all that. And he had his leg as well. He was hobbling about, and he sort of finished packing the tent up. He just chucked it back in the bag. He didn't even put like the fly sheet in the bag. He just had it in a big pile with a broken pole and that. And then he come over to us with it, and he went to me, "Enjoy. Thank you for the food. Thank you for the beers. Thank you. You made my holiday really nice. Now enjoy the tent. If you can fix it, do you want it?" And I went, "Yeah, don't you want it?" He went, "No, broken pole, I'll throw it away. You have it. If you can fix it, you can have it." And he just gave me this tent and thanked us for making his holiday good, and he had a laugh with us and that. And that was it. He jumped in his car and shot off, and he left me with his Scirocco. So I got this tent for nothing off a Frenchman in Spain. So that's like how I got hold of this tent. And then when I got home, I just got one of them sleeves and I repaired the pole in like 5 minutes, and this tent's been going ever since. So that's why on one of the poles you can see it's got a repair sleeve on it. That's where the Frenchman fell over, hurt his leg, snapped the pole, and then went right into one. So that makes this tent like it's got quite a story. Whenever we use this tent, we all laugh about that day. Whenever it comes out, someone will bring that day up. Remember the old Frenchman when he snapped the pole and went into it? And we've had such a laugh about that story over the years. Every time we use this tent, that story comes up. And it does make us laugh because it was funny. This Frenchman, he went flat on his face, hurt his leg, went right into one, but then give me his tent. So it was happy days. So I bought this tent back from Spain, repaired it, and it's been good ever since. And when we first had it, 'cause I got it for nothing, we did use this tent in all terrible conditions and all that, was using it. But like now it's got old and that, and I've got other tents to use, I wouldn't do that to this tent now. I love this old tent, and I love the story about how I got it, because I got it for free. And I love a tent I got for free. I have got a few that people have given me for nothing, but this was the only one that came from a fuming Frenchman. So I'd just like to say, if you ever watch this, if you watch it, Mr. Frenchman, and you remember your old tent and breaking your pole and hurting your leg, I'd just like to say thank you for this tent. I've had a ton of fun in it. I've used it loads. It is still going strong. So thank you very much, Mr. Frenchman, and I hope your leg's better. So as you can see, I'm getting her to do the poles, and I know how it goes, so it's quite easy. This is another one where the poles cross at the side. So the pole that goes sort of to the front of the tent, or the front pole of the cross goes in the back loops, and then the back pole of the cross goes into the front loops. So the poles cross on this one at the side to give it a bit of an extra strength, and then it like opens up on the roof. So as you can see, that's the inner up then. Them 3 poles hold the inner up. The 4th pole goes through the outer, and that is like holds the front of the porch up. So that is the inner. I think that inner is exactly the same as the normal Scirocco inner. So that's it really. It's strong and all that, you know. It's not very big, but where it's got all the poles crossing and all that and that other pole at the front, that is really strong, that little bit of tent there. And you can see it there on the sides, what I was talking about, where the poles cross. So the front pole in the back loops, back pole in the front loops, and it like creates the cross. And that opens the roof out. So that's up really to the inner, and then you can pick it up, move it wherever you want it to go. So it is a little bit of a fight to get this tent up. It's another one, because of its design, you got to manhandle them poles into it a little bit. But it's easy enough. Once you've done it a few times, it's easy enough. And she done it easy enough. She just struggled a bit with the cross. Once I told her what to do, then yeah, that's easy, you just do it. So all you need to do is chuck a few pegs in to hold the inner down, and then you just thread the pole through the fly sheet and then chuck that over the top and peg that down. So it's not like a pitch in 2 minutes tent, this one. There is a bit of a palaver that goes to pitching this. But I enjoy pitching this one because I like this old tent. Whenever I use it, it just reminds me of that Frenchman going into one and makes me laugh. So yeah, I like this little tent. I'm just going to help her do the pegs because my garden is so hard. She's struggling to get the pegs in, so I'll just help her. When she struggles to put a peg in, I'll just push it in for her. So you just peg this down on the 4 corners of the inner, and it'll hold down. And you see it's got them little tabs that are like sewn onto the side, so you just peg it down through them and then it holds it in place. Just pull it out tight, peg it down. Do the same on the back 2 loops, and then you're nearly done then. That's the only bit that's tricky. The fly sheet and that goes on easy. It's not a problem, the fly sheet. Straight over the top, whack a few pegs in it, the fly sheet's on. So you pull the front out there, put a couple of pegs in that bit just to stretch the inner out a bit more, and you do the same on the back of the inner. You stretch it out to make it bigger. And then you just go over to the other side and do exactly the same on the other side, and then just whack a couple round the back. And then it's up, this tent, and it's a strong tent when it's all pegged down, because all the innards pegged down and all that really strong. It is a strong tent, this one. It is geared up for bad weather, this tent, definitely. It is strong to take it. So that's the front done, then you just go around the back and do exactly the same on the back. Just stretch the back out, give you more room in the inner. See, that pulls right out, and then you just chuck a couple of pegs in that, and the back's down. Cut the pegs in these corners, peg the back, and then that's it. The inner is up. So there's not a lot of room in my garden for this tent. It's quite big, this tent, because it's got a massive canopy on the front. It goes quite a long way down. That's why I'm trying to push it back as far as I can. So hopefully I will get it in here all right, because it is quite a big tent and my garden's not very big. So just whack that peg in there like she's doing. Pull it out tight. And then away you go. See, it's just about gone in there, that back bit, so I might struggle with the fly sheet. So just one more peg to put in, and that is the one by her foot. Just peg that side down a little bit. No, not there, through the tab, yes. It's a little tab under there. Get the little tab, that's it. Little tab under there. And there you go, the pegs go through them little tabs. So whack that peg in, and that is it. The inner is up, ready to go. That ain't going nowhere. You could have a big force 10 gale go at that. That is not blowing anywhere. And you can see it's got the big vent at the back. The door unzips, so it's got the mesh as well. So you can do the door so the door's like one big vent. And that's it. The inner is up. So you can see that's like... You sleep sideways in that. It's only got the one door, but it's nice that inner. It's nice and strong. Nice design, very strong, and the way it opens out. So It's quite high in there. You can sit up alright in there and that. It's quite tall, this tent. So let's move on to the fly sheet. And like I said, the shortest pole out of the four threads through the fly sheet at the front, and that becomes like your porch bit. So it goes through that sleeve there. There's like a sleeve, just thread the pole in. I will help her a little bit put the pole in, because like I said, this tent's old. You don't just want to be throwing your pole through it and forcing it in like you would a new tent. You got to be gentle with these old tents, because they are old. They are a little bit fragile now, these old tents. Well, they're not, but you just need to take care with them. Could easily damage this by stuffing poles in it all quick and trying to like do it too fast. So you just take your time with this one and put it up nicely. Make sure you don't damage it, because it's got a lot of life left in this tent. This tent ain't on its last legs. This tent's got a ton of life left in this. And alright, if you wanted to go out in real winter storms and all that with it, yeah, you'd have to seam seal it all back up and all that. But like I said, I just use this in the summer, and then the fact that that seam seal is wearing out a little bit doesn't really matter, because I would never have this thing out in the rain. And if I was caught out in the rain, I would just throw a tarpaulin over it to protect the tent a little bit. So it's not a problem. And I have been out in this when it rains. Although that seam seal and that is on its last legs, this thing does not leak. It's still watertight. So sometimes it doesn't matter that seam seal's going. Some of the tents don't really need that. If the stitching and everything's really good anyway, the seam seal is just like an extra protective layer that they don't really need. Now, I've got other tents where as soon as that layer starts going, water's just coming into it like no tomorrow. But on a really well-made tent, that seam seal can all start flaking off, and it will handle some rain. It won't leak. It just depends how good a tent it is. If all the stitching and that's done lovely and it's all good materials, it won't leak anyway. If this did leak, I would do all them seams, and when it does start leaking, I will do all the seams. But at the minute, this thing is still watertight. Does not leak, so I'll just leave that as it is. So the fly sheet's over, so all you need to do is just whack a couple of pegs in the back to hold that fly sheet down, and then move on and start doing the front. So you just peg that down one either side, and then go to the front and pull it out tight. And this is another one, I will probably go round it again and tighten it up once it's over. So you just peg that side, peg this side, and then that's it really. Move on to the front and start pegging it down. And she has already said to me that she really likes the colour of this tent, so I think this tent might be the winner. I did think the one yesterday was going to be the winner, because she really liked that Litchfield tent, but she did say she doesn't want to take that in case anything happened to it, because the way I was talking about it, she knows I love that tent so much, and she did admit it's in such lovely condition. She said she don't really want to take that one just in case something happened to it. She'd worry about it. But this one will be fine, so I think this might be the one that she goes for. Or the Sierra Design. She liked that Sierra Design tent. But that's not as good as this tent, that Sierra Design. You wait till this one's up. This one looks absolutely lovely. And it's a really good one for like, she's going for 5 days. So you have all your gear and that. Put it all in the front of this tent. Plus, it's big, the front of this tent. You get changed in it. You can do whatever in the front of this tent. I'll give her a tarpaulin to put in the front so she's not just on the grass. And then, like, you can cook in the front of this one, you can do whatever. So, although the sleeping bit on this tent isn't actually that big, the actual tent is massive. And it's a good one for, like, a week's camping trip or something, because it's got a ton of room in it. It's a really nice tent to be in, this one. So once that's up, you just lock the pole in, and then you just put a couple more pegs to hold that out. Hold that out tight. Get the peg in, and then you just pull the front out and peg it down. Now, like the other one you're seeing now, this bit that's extending here, this is different to the other Sciroccos. The other Sciroccos I've seen, they don't have this bit. You would just go to where the last bit was, where like one pole back, they wouldn't have this extra pole, and the front just comes down from there on the slope, and they have a door either side at the front, but like on the front part. But where this one's got the extension, it hasn't got the doors on the front, the doors are on the sides. So this is the one you don't normally see. You see that other one a lot. I've come across that other one quite a bit in different colours. I've seen it in red, I've seen it in purple, I've seen it in orange. I think I've seen it in green as well, the other one. But this one with the porch, I have seen it on eBay a couple of times over the years. It's not like I'm looking every day at wild country tents, but I do. It is a bit of like a pastime of mine, especially when I'm sitting in the tent on my phone. I do look through tents, and I do look at vintage tents, see what people are selling and all that. And I have only ever seen one or two, maybe three of these ones come up for sale. But the other Scirocco one, I've seen loads of them come up for sale. And I've seen loads of them out and about at the places I go where everyone uses the old tent. That Scirocco turns up, but this one I've never seen. So I do think this one is a bit of a rare tent. Although it is out there, I don't think there's many of these still going, still out there. And just look at the front of this tent. Oh, look at that. It's got a really good look to it, this one. Really does look nice, this tent. Lovely colour. Look at it. Really lovely old tent this is. And it looks even better once you get both the doors open and all that on this tent. Yeah, it really has got a nice look to it. It looks old, this tent. It has got an old look to it. It really has. It stands out, this tent. When I have this on a campsite somewhere, this tent really stands out. People have a look at it. They go, oh, that's nice, mate. Wild country. So this tent does stand out. It looks different to all the others. And as you can see there, we're not pegging the fly down properly. Because my garden's on a bit of a slope, the fly sheets don't like going down this side because the garden is sloping away quite quickly. So we have pegged it down, but that's not how it's meant to be. On flat ground, you could hook them under the poles so both bits would like lock together and put the peg through. But when the garden's sloping away, you can't. I'm not going to try and do that because you're putting too much tension on the fly sheets, and that's why we're just pegging it out loosely. You get the gist of how the tent looks. You can get the shape of it, and look, lovely shape this tent really is. And you wait, when we get both the doors open, this thing starts looking really good. So this is like the second vintage tent that I've put on the channel. Well, there's a few vintage ones on the channel actually, but I'd class this one. This is like really old, this one. Same as that Litchfield we done yesterday. They are really old. So it's the second one of like the really old tents that I've put on here. And I wonder what one you'd prefer, that Litchfield or this. Now, I think I'd prefer this as a tent. As a tent, this thing is absolutely stunning. An absolutely lovely bit of workmanship. Proper craftsman made this. It's really lovely built tent. But that Litchfield that I've done the video on is in such good condition. Like, this is not in the condition of that Litchfield. That Litchfield is like brand new. So I don't know, if I could only keep one of these two, I don't know what I would have. Probably I would keep this because I love the old Frenchman story and I got this for nothing. And I have had some really good times with this tent, out in storms, out in all sorts of weather. We've had this tent out a lot, me and my mates, and we used to do it because this porch bit is so big. In the summer, you can have a crowd here in this tent because some sleep in the actual sleeping bit. But if you put a tarpaulin down in the front of this, you can have people sleeping in there as well. So we've had like loads of people sleeping in this tent years ago. When we take this out, me and mates, we've had this thing pitched on beaches and all that in the summer. We've done it all with this tent, so I think I would have this one just for the adventures I've had with it and the Frenchman's story. So I love this tent for that, because I have had some really good times in this tent with me mates. We've had a laugh with this old tent. So let's open the door and have a little look inside it. And as you can see, look, that's opened up. That's massive in there. Now, you don't get that on the normal Scirocco, only this one. It's massive, look at that, and that's what I'm saying. You throw a tarpaulin out in here, you can have loads of people sleeping at. And that's a strap to like pull the front out better. I'll show you how this goes. I'm not going to bother putting it all on, but I'll just show you and you'll get the gist of it. So you get that end and it goes into that clip up there. Hopefully I'll be able to do it one-handed, else I might have to put the camera down because I'm struggling a bit to do that one-handed. No, that's gone, I've got it. So that's it, that clips up into there, and then the other end, you just throw over the pole there. So you put it round the pole and pull all the slack through, and then it just tensions up the roof and pulls the inner out a bit. And you can wrap that, what I have done is wrap it round that pole again, and then you just pull that down so it holds the front of the tent out a bit better, and then you whack a peg in the bottom. So you'd put a peg, I won't be able to do it because my path slab's there, but you'd put a peg just outside there, and then you can take the slack up where that clip is. You can pull it through, it's like adjustable, so you take your slack up on that once you've got your peg in, and you can like double loop it round the pole so it holds all this front bit much taller, and it pulls like the front at the top of the like sleeping compartment out. So I'm not going to put that strap on, but that's how it goes. If you had one and you've got the strap and you wonder what to do with it, that is what you do with it. So it's really good, like the porch on this tent. It really is massive in here, and it's quite high as well. So there is a ton of room in here for cooking and all that. So let's open up the sleeping bit and have a look. So it's not that big, the sleeping bit in here. It's like only really a two-man. You could get three of you in here at a squeeze, but it's a nice sort of two-man size tent. See, for an old tent, all these zips are still working lovely on it and all that. Because they're normally the first things to wear out on these old tents, the zips go. And I have replaced the zips on old tents before, but it is hassle. It is a bit of a nightmare to do the zips. I've done it before, got the old sewing machine out and away I go. But it is a palaver replacing the zip. So it's good when they all stay nice. So as you can see in here, got big nice pockets, nice in here. There is enough room, you could squeeze three of you in here if you wanted to, quite easy. But for two, it's lovely. Or on your own, this is like having a mansion house if you're on your own with that massive porch and this sleeping bit. It is like living it up in a mansion. Take this out on your own. Because I do take this on my own sometimes because I like this old tent. And like I say, I like to use it. I don't just leave this one in the bag. This gets used quite regular because I really want to keep this one nice and keep it going for as long as I can. So it does come out and get used, this old tent. Every summer I'll be out a few times with this, just to keep it all working nice. And then you can see you can undo that and just leave the mesh so you can open the two front doors up on this, and then have that mesh so the bugs can't get you, and then you're in here, lovely. And with the two doors open, you get a lovely draft blowing through that front bit. So yeah, it really vents well, this tent. You can really cool this tent down in the summer. You really can. Open it right up. Because you'd think this would be a red hot one in the summer, because it hasn't got a lot of mesh in this sleeping bit and that. But where you can open all the front and that massive mesh door, it doesn't get hot in here. It stays nice, this tent. So you can use this in the summer. It's not a problem. And as you can see, I'm laying there. I've got enough room. So for two people, this is really nice tent. Loads of room. Air push, get a squeeze it free in here, no problem. And with that front bit as well, like I said, you throw a tarpaulin out in there, you get another 4 or 5 people sleeping out in that bit quite easily. I know, because I've done it. So you get your little lantern hoop to hang the lantern up. Yeah, so it's nice in here. Nice tent, this one. I would say, if you could find one of these, buy it, because it is a rare tent. If one comes up on eBay and you see it, and it is this one with a porch, buy it, because you won't be disappointed. Well, unless it's knackered. If it all looks alright, buy it, because it is a really well made tent. And that goes for them other Sciroccos as well. I've never had the normal Scirocco. I would like one. I do bid on them now and again. I would like the normal version. I do bid on them now and again, because I know how well made this thing is. So one of them other Sciroccos would be a nice vintage tent, and it would be the same build quality as this. So it would be a good tent, definitely. And there's quite a lot of them old Sciroccos out there. You see them quite a lot come up for sale. So they are still out there. And that shows how well they're built, because a lot of them are still surviving and are still out there. And they do that Scirocco in a bright purple. So yeah, that looks a great tent. I've seen that one on a campsite. I was next to a bloke. I had this one and he had the normal version beside me. Bright purple. Yeah, it did look good. It looked like a real fun tent to use in the bright purple. Because sometimes just them bright coloured tents, don't know, they just make the tent seem like more of a fun time tent, really. And bright purple, you're not getting no more fun time than that. But if you're only buying one tent, if you've only got one tent, get a green one that blends in easy enough. And then if you ever want to go somewhere where you really shouldn't be, you can use that green tent, because you wouldn't be able to use a bright purple one if you're trying to hide away. But if you've got a few tents, you can have the green ones that are easy enough to hide away in when you want to be a bit out of the way. But then you can have the nice bright colours for when you go to a campsite or you go somewhere you're allowed to be, and you can have fun with them bright coloured tents. You really can. They look good. I like tents in really bright, funky colours. So I've just put the camera down and unzipped the door, and the door just rolls up and then goes along that front part there like that on the toggle. So it's out the way. And then that's opened it right up. So although it's only got the one door, this tent, the door is so massive that it ain't really a problem that it's only got the one door. So let's go round to the other side and open up the other door on the lovely Scirocco. And for those of you who don't know, no, this tent wasn't named after the car. This tent is named after a wind. There is a strong wind called the Scirocco wind. So that's what this tent would be named after, the Scirocco winds. So let's just open up the other door and show you all the features on the lovely wild country Scirocco. The double doors. Nice, and nice when the tents have the double doors like this, because the wind just blows through them lovely, get a lovely breeze, and it makes that porch seem so massive. Like with these doors open, you can cook in that front bit, and then it's all venting, all doing everything. So it is a really good tent for a bit of cooking and that, this one. So I've just put the camera down and I've clipped all the doors in place properly to show the Scirocco at its best. So you clip all the doors up nicely on the toggles, and there you go. That is the wild country Scirocco. Now look at that. That is a really good looking tent. I don't care who you are looking at that now and thinking, yeah, he's right, that is a good looking tent. And when you look at it from the side, look at that with the old doors open and that thing, oh, look at that. That's a lovely looking tent. So if you are watching this and you're thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind one of them tents, treat yourself and buy one. Especially if it's like you and your missus or something like that, and you're looking to get a tent to go camping. If you're doing campsite camping and that, and you and your missus are looking at tents to buy and that, treat yourself to one of these, because it would cost you less than like a brand new cheap tent that's as big as this. This thing would be less money than that. And this thing is so much better than a modern sort of budget tent that you're going to pay a few quid for. And in 5 years' time, you'd be chucking that modern tent away because it would be leaking and it would be ruined. But this, if you bought one of these, you would not be chucking it away. If you looked after it, this thing will last you donkey's years. And you'd enjoy going camping in this a lot more than what you would in just a modern tent that you've bought. You really would. This thing's got a fantastic look. That front porch bit is lovely for cooking and all that. And it's a strong tent, this. It will not blow away in the wind, so you'll have no trouble with it and all that. To buy a new tent that's as good quality and as well made as this thing, it would cost you a load of money to get your hands on something as good as this that was brand new. Whereas these second hand, well, I don't know about this one because they don't really come up, but the normal Scirocco, it's sort of, you're not getting it cheap as chips, but they don't make a ton of money. I'm not sure on this one because these don't come up. I haven't seen one of these for sale for years, so I don't know how much this would make, but it is one that's worth finding, this tent, definitely. If one come up, treat yourself and buy it, because I'm not doing it justice with this camera. You need to get round the back of it and all that and show it from all its angles. I'll do it another day. When I'm out camping in this, I will get much better shots of this tent and show it in all its glory, because it really is a good looking tent, this one. So I've just closed all the doors up, and let's have one last little look round the lovely Scirocco. Look at it, not many tents look as good as that. They really don't. Look at it. You know, people at home, if you're a bit of a tent lover and you're watching this at home, you are thinking, that is a nice tent, mate. I know you are. Because if I didn't own this and I watched a video of someone doing this tent, I'd think, oh, I really like your tent, mate. Because I do watch a lot of YouTube videos on the vintage tents. I watch more of the vintage tents than the modern tents, because they're just better. I love seeing the old vintage tents when people show them off. All the modern tents, most of them, they all look pretty much the same. But the vintage tents have got character. They look different. Each one has its own individual look. Back when this was made, they didn't all just copy each other. Like nowadays, someone makes a design that sells, everyone just copies it. But not Wild Country. They made this one to be unique. So the Wild Country Scirocco gets the thumbs up from me. And I will give Wild Country another thumbs up for how well made this tent is and how well it has lasted. Because I have used this thing a lot and it's still going strong. So that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe so you can join me again and see what other tents I'm showing you, because I've got a lot more vintage tents to come yet. So I'm off now to sit in my lovely Scirocco. So let's go wild country camping.